So here we are on Oscar Sunday. It's a big day for movies. Well, I should say it's a big day for bigger movies. There's going to be a lot to talk about come Monday. There's been a lot to talk about if you've been following any of the news behind 2025's biggest movies. You're well aware that this is going to be an exciting situation tonight. I personally don't think I'll be watching. I am in the midst, as you know, still doing Cinequest stuff, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. I've seen some really inventive and creative and heartfelt and just wonderful films this week that unfortunately won't get the same traction as a lot of the movies that will be talked about tonight at the Oscars. Part of me is a little bit pleased that if I have to choose between the Oscars or Cinequest stuff, I'm pretty happy with Cinequest choices right now, just because there's just so much going on. There's so much to talk about. This week coming up, the screenings at Cinequest, if you're around and you've been catching some of the films, they will almost exclusively be taking place in Mountain View at the Alamo Drafthouse. And so keep an eye out for that. If you're looking at the schedule, looking at the calendars and stuff, and looking at what movies to see, just be aware, if you're not already, that Mountain View will be the place. And you couldn't have picked a better theater. It's a great theater. I'm actually looking forward to catching some screenings out that way this week coming up. But today, we'll talk about a movie that I'd seen this past week. Obviously, I'm still thinking about all the films I've seen so far. This is a fresh one, still in my heart. It really touches my heart when I think about it. Steve Zahn was on hand yesterday at Cinequest to receive the Maverick Spirit Award, which is Cinequest's highest award. He also had a film premiere, and that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. So get ready as we unpack the film. She Dances. Let's talk about it. I had no idea what to expect from this film. I just knew I know Steve Zahn. I assumed it was going to be a comedy, and it is. But it also has, it's a dramedy. And it was actually a much more personal film than I thought it was going to be. Right now, it's really hard. It's hard to say what's the best movie of the festival when you see so many things. But if I'm because everything I've seen has been so great, it's really hard. It's hard to say this, but I'll say this about this movie. She Dances is probably, it was the movie that made me, it just broke me. I cried multiple times throughout this film. And when I sat down to sort of compile my thoughts and write about it, I was emotional writing about it. This is hours after having seen it. And I can't, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. What the quiet power that this movie had. And it, at the same time, felt so big. And just so, like, I have to pace myself because I'm still feeling a lot of the emotions as I think about this movie. And I haven't even told you what it's about yet. So let me tell you, this is about a family, essentially. This is a family story. A man named Jason, who is played by Steve Zahn, and he is tasked with being a chaperone at his daughter's dance competition, her last series of performances before she goes off to college, goes off to do her grown-up stuff, more grown-up stuff. And they've been estranged, so the relationship is a little bit it's not comfortable, at least at the start of the film. At first, he's not really wanting to do that. He doesn't really, he's like the last person that I think his wife, Deb, played by Rosemary DeWitt, and his daughter, Claire, played by his real life daughter, Audrey Zahn. He's the last person that they want to call to to be there, just because, which implies that there's been some, it's been rough going with him in the family as of late, and you understand pretty quickly that there's been a loss, that they're grieving still. We don't know how long ago it happened, and frankly, it's not important. This is really about the fact that what happens to a family when you lose someone, and all the emotions that come with that, and then the aftermath, which presumably does bring up also major feelings, and it changes how the family interacts as a unit, and it can really break a family. It certainly shifts the dynamic of everything. And if you've gone through any loss, you know that very well. So it can hit really strongly. And this is a family who's trying to negotiate grief, and then also try to figure out how to negotiate each other in the wake of that grief. This film also stars Ethan Hawke, who plays Brian, Jason's best friend. And it also stars Sonequa Martin Green as one of the dance coaches, who you may know her from Star Trek Discovery. And also a young woman by the name of Mackenzie Ziegler, who I don't know that I've seen her before this movie, but she was also great. It's got a solid cast, and just well-written script, well-directed. This is directed by Rick Gomez, who you may know from Band of Brothers. He was also a voice actor in the Final Fantasy games. He's been around the block, and he directed the heck out of this movie. This was a family affair. Steve Zahn and his daughter and Rick were all three on hand at the screening yesterday, and talked about how interconnected it was with so much family stuff. Between Steve Zahn's children, both, I think his son is also has a quick short appearance in this film as Jack. Obviously, his daughter is in this film. Rick Gomez, his wife, was involved, and his dad was involved. There's a lot of, if you look at the credits, you see a lot of the names of the family members of Rick Gomez and Steve Zahn on display. And it was just a true interconnected family situation. Also, Steve Zahn's actual family home movies are in this movie. And they're used to such beautiful effect. I wish I could think of a better word than beautiful. It's just because I don't know that really fully captures the feelings that come up. It's such a sweet, really touching expression of just the it's a really well done movie. It had a lot of punching power, really, more than I expected. I did not expect it to hit me as hard as it did in my gut and in my heart. It was like there was a button that was being pressed every time certain emotional scenes came up, emotional conversations, and it just like it was like the cry button. Hit the button, and it wasn't just me. People in the audience, I was hearing sniffles around me multiple times. So it just gives you an indicator of how emotionally resonant this film is. I want to talk about some of the performances because I really think that there was really good work done all around. Audrey Zahn was a revelation to me. I hadn't seen her in anything. She was understated. She was consistent. There was a controlled aspect to her performance, but that didn't feel like it was overly so. It was very like she knew what she was doing, and the choices she made felt like it wasn't acting. And it was just beautiful. I also loved her relationship with Mackenzie Ziegler. Mackenzie Ziegler plays the best friend who also dances. They're a duo on the dance team. And so they go to this competition and they're competing together on the same team to make it to finals, where there eventually is a solo performance. And the relationship between them is just beautiful. And again, this to me, it continues like this thread I mentioned earlier in my previous video about Her Song. The relationship between the two main women, Olivia and Madeline, was such a natural, such an easy relationship, and very sort of it feels like they enjoyed spending time with each other. There was a warmth there, and I felt something similar here, but it was another layer of like extra warmth and like deep love, like they are each other's other half. It was the beautiful depiction of female friendship at that level. These are high school kids. They're like seniors in high school. Again, no conflict between them. Such a rich and sort of authentic and loving relationship. And I really dug that. By the same token, this is the other thing I thought was great about the movie, is that same relationship between those two young ladies is the spirit of that, I think, also can be found in Steve Zahn's relationship with Ethan Hawke as Jason and Brian. These two guys are best friends, and they started a business together, and they've been longtime partners. And I so loved how open they were, how unafraid they were to express themselves, how there's genuine love there, and they're not afraid to say "I love you," and there's like the hugs are real. There's no pretense about them being two men and expressing genuine love and care for each other. Particularly too when you consider that Jason has gone through a loss, and Brian has had to also. It was a loss for him too. He lost also his sort of surrogate nephew. He lost his partner for a while because, his partner in the business, because they started this thing together. You have to imagine it as long as they've been friends. And Jason has had his family and everything, and that was also Brian's family too. And so it was a loss for him too. And it almost destroyed their business. It destroyed their relationship almost nearly. The fact that they can have honest conversations about that and then express it just in a way that was so loving, was just so beautiful. It's something that you don't see a lot with men in films. There's always there's this term bromance that's thrown around. And I've come to not like that term when it comes to the depiction of two men expressing care and love for each other. Because to me, that bromance suggests that there is love between two men with a shield. Oh, there's like a bit of a shield. You got to say, "I love you, man." You can't just say, "Hey, I love you," and mean it and have it just be that. There's like some kind of you have to preserve your macho manness when you express the care and love to your homeboy or whatever it is, who you've been through like a lot of life stuff together with. And I was grateful that was not there in this movie. This was pure. It's the kind of stuff that you see among romantic partnerships, in the most like the purest sense. It's like, oh, this is, and it's really beyond any label. The fact that those two men can express themselves that way, I always love seeing stuff like that, and it's just it's healing oddly in a way too to see that when you've been conditioned to not do that. I think most men, you may have maybe one or two male friends who you can express yourself with like that. It's like really small number, because most men are being conditioned to not do that, you're not supposed to be open, don't share your emotions, and you can't cry in front of each other. You can't really, you know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff it's not common, but I like to think that kind of thing is becoming more common. Like you're seeing a little bit more, and you see it in a little bit more movies, a little bit more stuff. So it's nice. It was nice that it was here. I loved that. This is also, I should mention the comedy. There's a great, and actually very controlled comedy in this movie. It's situational, and it is also natural. There's natural humor that comes from being the dad chaperoning your daughter and her friends around. That can be, there's awkwardness around it because he's trying to connect with her, and sometimes there's things that just it doesn't come out right, doesn't work, and it's funny. You see it also when it comes to certain periphery characters. Like there's a group of dance moms, and they're hilarious every time they're on screen. They're just just how they talk, how they interact with each other. It's almost like it taps into some of the cliches about performance moms that you see, particularly for moms who are cheerleaders, moms who were former cheerleaders who are now coaching their daughters' teams, and similar to moms who were dancers and then are coaching their daughters' dance teams and stuff. There's a certain elements that are played up, but it's good comedy, and then a bunch of other things that tie into Jason really making an effort, trying to be a good dad, and trying to just be supportive of his daughter and his daughter's friend, and messing up, and but it's so endearing, it's so sweet, and it's still funny. It's great. Ethan Hawke also, he's not around a lot, but he also provides some comic relief. but very also just nuanced performance and just beautiful. I have to say that there are several powerful moments of this film. There are a couple conversations between Jason and Claire that are just really just beautiful. One in conversation in particular when they have a conversation about Jack. That's just beautiful. Pay particular attention to that when you see this movie. And also the climactic dance performance is easily the most lyrical. It's making me tear up just thinking about it. It's the most beautiful performance. Two things about it. The performance itself is beautiful, but how it is shot is beautiful. And what you see on screen is just, it's lyrical. It's also, there's an anger to it. There is it's like everything you feel when you've lost someone and you are processing it, and the way you express it, however you choose to express it. In this movie, it happens to be through a dance, but it's like everything you're feeling is being expressed there. And I think the dance perfectly encapsulates that. It's very well done, very well put together. And the best thing about it though is the fact that win or lose, it's not important. The most important thing is that you did it. And even more important than that is that you have your support of your parent there. And if you feel like this movie is going to hit you differently depending on where you are in life. If you've been a kid who has felt like your parents weren't always supportive of what you wanted to do or what you needed at that moment, I think this will heal some piece of that in some way. If you've gone through loss, this movie will help you feel less alone. And that other, that this is what we have to go through, and that we deal with it in the ways that we deal with it. And it comes out in different ways. Some people who are artists will express it in different ways. Some people who are not, well, maybe you journal, maybe you do something else. This is one way that a family is processing it. And the end result is, frankly, yeah, it's probably one of the more affecting films that I've seen this season at Cinequest. Again, I've seen some great movies. I've loved everything that I've seen so far. And I've had some great conversations with some of the filmmakers of those films. But this movie, it really hit me. And I highly recommend you check it out. The good news about this movie, with regard to being able to see it, you will be able to see it very soon. Following Cinequest, which I think, again, ends on the 22nd. I think a week later, on the 27th, just shy of a week following the close of Cinequest, She Dances will open. So you'll be able to catch it at a theater. So, and again, I highly recommend you watch this movie. It's not going to be what you think going in, and I think you'll be surprised by how much it hits you. I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed how it was shot. I also enjoyed how, just like from a technical level, there's some split screen stuff going on where you're seeing two different things happening at the same time, where most films would do cutaways that will cut from this scene to this scene, and it's happening at the same time just because of the flow of it. But the fact that this show did like a split screen thing where you're seeing it at the same time, it was like a good episode. It's like 24. If you've seen that show, love that show, where you're seeing split screens of stuff and everything is happening at that moment, but in different locations and stuff. And then sometimes they converge. It doesn't happen a lot in this movie, but there are a few sections where it happens, and it always pays off. It's not like it's just done arbitrarily. It's a unique way to convey to the audience that something is happening at the same time. I liked it. It was cool. It's cool to see that kind of stuff. And then the other thing outside of that is just like, again, I mentioned the home movies, just the sweetest things that it's like you're seeing an insight into Steve Zahn's like family life in real life, and that that it was used in the film in this way. It's just like, it's not only cool, it makes the story itself more emotionally resonant, because they're real events that took place in the home video, and but it also works for what you're seeing on screen. It's just beautiful, beautiful work. And again, so check this movie out. She Dances, March 27th. It's going to be out, and sit through the credits. That's all I'm going to say. So if you stuck around this long and watched me go through a wave of emotions and things on this video, thank you for taking the time to hang out and listen to this love fest for this movie. Thanks for watching. And, stay tuned. More reviews are on the way really soon. So I'm getting out of here. In the meantime, if you're going to watch the Oscars, enjoy it. And if you're not, have a nice evening. And I will see you in the next video.